Hi students, I am Dr. Anurag Agarwal and today is a very special session. Why? Because this session where you are watching here, I am going to teach you VS Naipaul. And VS Naipaul is in the syllabus of IS Mains Optional English Literature paper. And so all those students who are registered with the OSN Academy application, with the GIC, with the IS Mains optional, they are going to study the VS Naipaul today. And this is a very special session. Why? Because this application of OSN Academy, which the students download from the Google Play Store and take the admission, many of you students requested me to see me how I teach through my OSN application. So today is a time when I am teaching in my classroom in my application OSN Academy, but my technical people, they have linked this class with the YouTube also, so that those students who do not know OSN Academy and those who have requested me, they may be able to see me live, that how I have been teaching, how I teach in my application, and how students pan India, they are studying with the application. So this is my application where the YouTube channel students are also watching here for the first time. Fine. So let us enjoy this session, and the IS aspirants or the all English literature aspirants, just be concentrating this class, which is a very important session for English literature, especially for IS main students. So जिन बच्चों को भी, those students who really wish to be a part of OSN, it is a great opportunity that you see that how Dr. Agarwal, that me as a professor in English, I am teaching today in my class to my IS aspirants, other aspirants in my classroom, which has been connected to the YouTube channel, so that you may be able to understand that how the students pan India, they are studying with me. Fine. So let us, you can even come to the the message box, the comment box, and give your views, and you can ask any questions. So let us just start with the VS Naipaul. Though we know that VS Naipaul is a very important novelist, a very important name in India, इसका नाम पूरा है विद्याधर सूरज प्रसाद नाइपॉल. विद्याधर सूरज प्रसाद Naipaul. Though it is not needed, but because when I start teaching any lecture, any poet, any drama, any poem, so I feel like to tell the basic of those people, so that it is also important that when you write answers, it might click that this thing is needed and you can write in the in your paper. Fine. So Vidyadhar Suraj Prasad Naipaul, he was basically he was born in 1932. Yes, if I am not wrong. And where he was born, students? He was born in Trinidad. He was born in Trinidad. And because his grandfather, his father's father, he had immigrated to this place. His grandfather has immigrated to Trinidad. From where? You would be surprised to know that he immigrated to Trinidad from Varanasi, which is a place of Narendra Modi. So you all know Banaras, जिसको कहते हैं Varanasi. So from this place, he immigrated to Trinidad from Varanasi. Fine, जिसको हम वाराणसी भी कहते हैं, and which is in the state Uttar Pradesh. And his father, उसके father का नाम था Siparsad. He was basically a reporter. He was basically a reporter to a newspaper, and that newspaper, इसको कई बार पूछा भी गया है, अगर आप इसको एग्जामिनेशन में लिख देते हैं, स्पेशली IS एस्पिरेंट्स अगर हम सुन पा रहे हो, तो he was a reporter for a newspaper जिसको कहते थे ट्रिनिडाड गार्जियन. इस चीज को कहते हैं टी गार्जियन. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. His father was a reporter in the newspaper जिसको कहते हैं ट्रिनिडाड गार्जियन. Fine. And yes, his father was also a short story writer. And you know, students, it was Naipaul's father who provided VS Naipaul's the first model for the literary interest, for the journalistic interest, for the motivation, for the inherent things which he could get from his father. And from a very tender age, from a very early age, बचपन से ही Naipaul, because of his father's inheritance, he developed his that इसको क्या कहते हैं, literary heritage कहते हैं. He developed his literary heritage while he rejected those the orthodox Hinduism. He rejected those orthodox Hinduism and the colonial society in which he was born. And when he was a student, जब वो आप जैसा student था, when he was a student at you must have heard the Queen's Royal College. The Queen's Royal, when he was a student at the Queen's Royal College, where in the port of Spain, in the port of Spain, he took a vow, उसने कसम खाई थी, he took a vow to escape from Trinidad. कसम खाई थी कि हम ट्रिनिडाड से भाग जाएंगे 5 सालों के अंदर, within the period of 5 years. I will run away. And yes, he took 6 years to escape from the island. 5 साल में तो उसने कसम खाई थी, लेकिन 5 साल नहीं लगे, 6 साल में वो एक्चुअली में आइलैंड से भाग गया. और जस्ट इमेजिन, इंसिडेंटली, कोइंसिडेंटली, Naipaul has 5 sisters and 1 brother, and his brother too became a novelist as Naipaul himself. इसका भाई भी नॉवलिस्ट बना जैसे Naipaul है, और इसकी 5 बहनें हैं. Fine. So students, this is called the base of any author, any dramatist, any novelist, any poet. Now, when you have heard this base, you will never ever forget that when you get the question in the examination, you can start anyhow. Matlab, there are many ways to start your answer, and once you start your answer with this knowledge, the examiner will be very happy that yes, you have so much of knowledge, and that knowledge which is actually very deep rooted, which is only possible when you study good. Fine. Now we go further. Now we go further about Naipaul's, that his father basically died in 1953, and by the time his father died, he was ready, means Naipaul was ready. And by the time his father died, I think he was around 18-20 years of age when he left Trinidad. Trinidad उसने छोड़ दिया. Where? To study at the University College, Oxford. And what was his subject, students? Yes, his subject was English. His subject was English literature. He left Trinidad for the University College, Oxford, for studying the English literature. And when he took his degree, his graduation degree from the Oxford University, he took a career in broadcasting. So these are the steps through which you have to learn, because anything can be used anytime when you are writing the answers. Suppose if you have qualified the IAS pre and mains, and when you are at the interview, and suppose the examiner asks, what is your favorite novelist, anything. Suppose if you say, Sir V.S. Naipaul, then if he asks you, tell me something about V.S. Naipaul. So because you are well developed with this lecture, and all my entire lectures, all the classes are equally like this thing. It has a lot of energy. It has a lot of focus, exactly as per your examination need. Fine, students. So he took the career as broadcasting, and he took up this thing, tried to make his career, but you know what happened? He soon got engaged in other activities rather than only broadcasting. And what he did? He started editing a program for the BBC, British Broadcasting, and he started publishing the book. He started also publishing the book reviews. Even he also started writing some features for the magazines, for the journals. And also he was very fond of, extensive traveling. Apart from reading, writing books, magazines, journalism, broadcasting, everything, he was very much interested in, traveling, extensive traveling. And when he was, I think 21, 22, something like this, he completed his first novel. And yes, this is of utmost importance, students, because you have to write in your answer that he was such a great writer, a novelist, and this and blah, who completed his first novel. Suppose V.S. Naipaul की जो सबसे फेमस है, that is Mr. Vishwas. So वो तो हम पढ़ेंगे ही, but before coming to the main novel, understanding the questions in the examinations, you have to write, you have to show that yes, he started his career with the novel The Mystic Messiah. I'll write it down for you, and this is of importance. You note it down. The Mystic. See, the first novel which basically came in 1957. People could read it by 1957. And suppose if you write that this novel was followed by another novel, and what is the name of that novel? The name of the novel was The Suffrage of Elvira. The Suffrage of Elvira. ये अपीयर हुए 1957 में, ये अपीयर हुए 1958 में, in the consecutive year, students. And again in the consecutive year 1959, again novel came, and what was the name? McGill Street. McGill Street. So these may not be a part of your syllabus, these may not be a part of your question, of your reading, but it will help you in gaining many marks in your examination, because this may prove that you know V.S. Naipaul to the very core of it. And all these novels, when I will tell you about V.S. Naipaul, you will write in your answer that V.S. Naipaul was a novelist who wrote light novels, satirical comedies, novels centering on politics, centering on elections, and even the novel McGill Street, which has dramatized the frustrating meaninglessness of urban poverty. So when you are writing about V.S. Naipaul, and the question which is asked, it is not that you are only going to give that answer particularly, you have to make a base. और बीच में भी आपको जरूरत पड़ेगी when you can write that V.S. Naipaul was blah 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 and he was of this nature, he was of this fervor. So then you get very good marks and a very good understanding. So students, I hope that you are able to understand well this lecture. Now, ये आपका बेस बन गया. Now we are going ahead with a different, understanding V.S. Naipaul. V.S. Naipaul को अगर हम याद करें तो बहुत बचपन से ही, from the very beginning, he was determined not to accept something, like a regular employment, like a government job, but he was always in favor of writing, taking career in writing. लिखने में वो हमेशा करियर बनाना चाहता था. एंड हमने कहीं पढ़ा है, मुझे याद तो नहीं आ रहा, किसी किताब में V.S. नाइपॉल की, कि लगभग 10 हफ्ते तक, for 10 weeks in the year 1957, he did indeed take up a job with a concrete company in London. एक concrete company थी लंदन में, उसमें वहां पे 10 हफ्ते तक उसने जॉब किया. with the job involving the writing of the articles and the articles which pertained to buildings, क्योंकि वो concrete की building थी. But because this part of his career, or you can say his interest, was not able to match with the interest for which he was born, and that is why this job did not suit him. ये job उसको पसंद नहीं आया, and he gave it up suddenly one day at lunch time. एक दिन खाना खाते खाते उसने job छोड़ दिया. And he has written somewhere in his diaries and books that he began to write for no other reason than because he thought that he would like to be a very nice author, or he would like to be a nice writer. So you know what happened? He started with a very romantic vision. उसने अपने करियर को शुरुआत जो किया, he started as having a very romantic vision, and as a writer who was basically gifted with talented things, he was also a creative person, he was also a kind person, a social person, and lot many things he was trying to visualize by himself by analyzing his career. But after all, students, he discovered that writing was a sign of disease. It was a sign of sickness. And इसी को उसने बाद में कहा, he called it a form of anguish. He called it despair. उसने राइटिंग को क्या कहा स्टूडेंट्स, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन में आपको बता रहा हूं. हर आईएएस के स्टूडेंट्स अगर हमें सुन पा रहे हों, या जो राइटिंग एग्जाम है, या जो भी बच्चे इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के प्रति बहुत बहुत कीनीनेस से पढ़ना चाहते हैं, तो यही वो पॉइंट्स होते हैं विच गिव यू अ लॉट ऑफ मार्क्स. कि जब ऐसे वो कर रहा था, लेकिन उसने डिस्कवर किया दैट राइटिंग वॉज अ साइन ऑफ डिसीज. मैं लिख देता हूं जिससे आपको याद रहे. राइटिंग वॉज अ साइन ऑफ डिसीज. इसमें एक चीज और लिख सकते हैं, इट इज अ साइन ऑफ sickness, despair, and even anguish. Fine. He was a versatile genius, we all know, and he lived a great life. Yes, in 1955, he had married an English woman. और वो अपने को कैसे देखता है पता है? He looks upon himself as a man, as an identity, without having any roots. And he never felt at home in Trinidad, जहां वो पैदा हुआ है, a land of his birth. And he has been repelled by India, the land of his origin. And you know one thing very important, that he is also on record as having said that he never lived in any house for more than 3.5 years. लेकिन ये जो स्टेटमेंट उसने दिया था, ये बहुत पहले दिया था, लगभग 1962 में, 1962 में ये उसने दिया था. So these are the things which make you qualify any examination, because these are the key points, the key things which has to be written, inculcated in your answer, students. And today is a great opportunity that my YouTube channel students are watching me while I am teaching in my class through the application. So students who have just joined me, I just like to say that this is my original class where I am teaching on my application right now to my IAS students, to the other verticals of English literature via Naipaul. And my students messaged me that I want to see you sir teaching on your application. तो फर्स्ट टाइम आई एम कमिंग हियर यूट्यूब में, तो मैं रोज आता हूं, अक्सर आता हूं, बट टुडे इट इज माई क्लासरूम एंड द क्लासरूम इज कनेक्टेड टू द यूट्यूब. so the students may enjoy that sir is teaching in the class, and those who wish to be a part, they can actually download the application OSN Academy from the Play Store and join their verticals, because there are hundreds and thousands of vacancies which are about to come in UP and other states of India, and the UGC NET batch is already started 3 days before. And once you will download the application, students, it will be a wonderful experience for you, because now what you are getting in the application, it is beyond your imagination. So just download and see that what is beyond your imagination. You'll be surprised and you'll feel lucky and blessed to be a part of OSN. Thank you, students. And yes, RPSC grade first grade literature, महेश सवानी, आपको शायद पता नहीं होगा, OSN Academy का ऐप डाउनलोड करिए प्ले स्टोर से जाके, go to the store, get inside the application and see RPSC फर्स्ट ग्रेड का बैच ऑलरेडी चल रहा है, तो वहां पे जाइए और वहां तुरंत ज्वाइन कर लीजिए. सचिन पाटिल, हाय राज, गुड इवनिंग ऑल माय स्टूडेंट्स, एंड जस्ट share the link to those students so that they may also understand that sir is teaching live on the application, and press the bell icon and subscribe the channel so that you may be in touch with us. And those who are career oriented students, they may not miss joining the NET, LT, TGT, PGT and IES PCS batch for the 2022 and 2023 batch. All are running. Fine. Now, so these are the details of the VS Naipaul. हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि आपको VS Naipaul का ये सेशन बहुत अच्छा लग रहा होगा. दिस इज माय क्लास एक्चुअली स्टूडेंट्स. सो क्लास का जो तरीका होता है वो बेसिकली एग्जैक्टली सिलेबस वाइज होता है कि व्हाट द एग्जामिनर एंड व्हाट द syllabus is needing. YouTube is basically to nourish all the students from different quarters of the country. So वहाँ पे कॉमन चीज पढ़ाई जाती है जो सबको लगे, but it is not syllabus wise. And this class is syllabus wise. So now क्या हुआ स्टूडेंट्स कि 1958 में, अगर हम 1958 की बात करें, in 1958 नाइपॉल ने देखा that he was facing with three alternatives. He was facing with three alternatives. These things you will not get in the book, students. And all these three alternatives, coincidentally, he had to reject. Now, suppose you write these things in the question, because questions जो पूछे जाते हैं वो उनमें ये सब कुछ आ जाएगा जो हम पढ़ा रहे हैं आपको. कैसे लिखना है ये आपको मैनेज करना है जो क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा. Now, what are those three alternatives, students, which he had to reject? You must have read V.S. Naipaul a lot, but I am very much sure, हो सकता है कि हम जो आपको बताने जा रहे हैं वो आपको ना पता हो, और जब ये पता हो जाएगा तो आपको ऐसा लगेगा कि yes, you will get the best marks now. And the first is that the first alternative which he had to reject was that he should write about sex. He should write about sex. ये पहला ऑल्टरनेटिव था जो उसको रिजेक्ट करना था. रिजेक्ट फर्स्ट. But to your surprise, students, he found that he could not write about this subject because he did not have the necessary skill, or he does not possess that experience if his writing has to have some variety in it. And then he also felt that writing about sex would actually embarrass him. उसको एम्बैरेसमेंट होगी अगर वो सेक्स के बारे में लिखेगा, एंड उसकी सोसाइटी उसके ऊपर हंसेगी, उसके फ्रेंड्स उसके ऊपर हंसेंगे, हिज फ्रेंड्स, हिज रिलेटिव्स, हिज नेबर्स वुड लाफ एट हिम, एंड देन व्हाट विल हैपन? अल्टीमेटली माँ बाप एम्बैरेस फील होंगे, उनको शॉक लग जाएगा. हिज मदर एंड फादर विल बी शॉक्ड. सो पहला अल्टरनेटिव उसलिए उसको रिजेक्ट करना पड़ा. सेकेंड ऑल्टरनेटिव उसके लिए क्या था जो रिजेक्ट करना पड़ा? टू इंट्रोड्यूस एन इंग्लिश और अमेरिकन कैरेक्टर इन द नॉवेल बीइंग रिटन बाय हिम एंड टू वीव द स्टोरी अराउंड दैट कैरेक्टर. सेकेंड ऑल्टरनेटिव विच ही हैड टू रिजेक्ट, स्टूडेंट्स अगेन समझिएगा, was to introduce an English और अमेरिकन कैरेक्टर. ये नहीं करना था उसको, और कोई भी स्टोरी इनके अराउंड वीव नहीं करनी थी. एंड दिस वॉज द डिवाइस being used by the British filmmakers who would put the American characters in the most unusual setting. So V.S. Naipaul felt, उसको ऐसा फील हुआ that doing so, अगर वो ऐसा करता है, was good business. Business तो देगा ही, it would give you good business by doing all these things. बट कला खराब हो जाएगी. बट बैड आर्ट. These two things would give them good business, but bad art. Fine. RPSC फर्स्ट ग्रेड का क्लास एप्लीकेशन पे स्टूडेंट चल रहा है. Every vertical is there on the application. You just name the vertical of English literature and you will find in OSN Academy the vertical at the OSN Academy app. OSN Academy is a name in India for English literature, as I have been teaching past 25 years all the verticals of English, and the students have been making their careers past 2.5 decades. So nothing to even think about OSN's quality or your nurturing of English literature. यस अभी मैंने आपको बताया बेटा, जस्ट नाउ आई टोल्ड यू दैट आरपीएससी का बैच ऑलरेडी चल रहा है. यू डाउनलोड द एप्लीकेशन OSN Academy फ्रॉम द प्ले स्टोर एंड सी द आरपीएससी बैच इज देयर. फाइन. सो today I would just say my application students who are taking this class on my application, my IS aspirants, my other aspirants, so you will feel a little bit interaction with the YouTube channel, but I'm sure that you will understand that this was a request, so I have linked this class to the YouTube channel just to give them some some feeling of the class, that how sir teaches in the class. So but it would not affect you. आपको भी थोड़ा अच्छा लगेगा कि that sir is interacting with the students. So ये आपको एक अलग थोड़ा सा फील आएगा इस क्लास में. फाइन. सो दो ऑल्टरनेटिव मैंने स्टूडेंट्स आपको बता दिया. पहला वो टू राइट अबाउट सेक्स, ही कुड नॉट गो फॉर इट, एंड टू टेक द अमेरिकन इन इंग्लिश कैरेक्टर and weave the things around, it can be a good business, but it will be a bad art. Now the third alternative, थर्ड क्या था स्टूडेंट्स? तीन ऑल्टरनेटिव थे जो उसको नहीं ले पाया. वो थर्ड ऑल्टरनेटिव was to write about race and racial discrimination. Race and racial to write about race and racial discrimination. पहला बता दिया आपको, दूसरा बता दिया, तीसरा यह है कि he would not accept about writing about the race and about the discrimination in the racial aspects. लेकिन such writings, such type of three alternative writings, V.S. Naipaul thought gave only a certain sadistic pleasure. उसको ऐसा, उसका ऐसा मानना था कि सपोज मैं ऐसे समझाऊंगा आपको, और इसको कंसेप्ट क्लियर करने के लिए, ये हो गया आपका तीसरा. दूसरा हो गया आपको जो बताया था इंग्लिश एंड अमेरिकन कैरेक्टर्स. पहला हो गया आपका सेक्स. तो अब आप समझिए मैं क्या बताने जा रहा हूं आपको, ठीक. बट दीज राइटिंग्स, इसको हम लिखते हैं सच राइटिंग्स. सच राइटिंग्स, फाइन. सच राइटिंग्स V.S. Naipaul thought gave only a certain sadistic pleasure. Gave only a certain sadistic pleasure. To whom? To the white readers. To the white readers who derived a vicarious sense of power. Who derived sense of power from reading these. अब समझ में आ गया होगा आपको. From reading it. It का मतलब हुआ ये. Understood, students? All my students who are studying in the application, am I okay? Fine. Very simple. I am teaching you very simple, very stepwise, and all will affect your writing skills in your IS mains or whatever mains examination you have to give. And V.S. Naipaul found that in the first place, he had no inclination to write that kind of book. And secondly, that the rage issue was too complicated to be dealt with in a novel. जो rage issue होता है ना, that was actually too complicated कि उसको हम deal कर पाएं within a certain novel. So all these things was also very much, suggested to V.S. Naipaul by some of his well-wishers, some of his friends, that he should stop being a regional writer. उसके friends ने कहा, उनके रिश्तेदारों ने कहा कि you should not be like a regional writer and you should only write about England. यहाँ पे मैं उसको लिख देता हूँ. Some well-wishers and friends told him not to be a regional writer. Not to be a regional writer. Fine. And should write about England. But to write about England. And this is also true that he did feel like writing about England, but he found that there were some difficulties which are coming in his way. So this is something which has been of utmost importance, and I'm going to stop this session, students, here, so that now you have understood that how I teach in my application OSN Academy, and the caring of the syllabus. All the verticals have their own syllabus. So every vertical has different syllabus. So every vertical has different lectures and different classrooms as per their syllabus. So I hope, students, whatever you had expected me, I feel that I have given you the best out of it, and hope to see you soon. And the next lecture, my dear students, on the application, I will take very soon. V.S. Naipaul to be continued. Thank you.